Hey, welcome to BACKTalk, the premier podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine, featuring in depth conversation and expert insights on crucial topics for Black families. We are ranked one of the top 4 Black family podcasts on FeedSpot. I'm your host, Janice Robinson Celeste. Now, being a mom is a full time job, but when you're also juggling a career, managing a household, and finding time for yourself, it can feel like you're doing it all, but did you know that balancing work, life, and motherhood doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your dreams? Today, we're diving into the realities of being a boss mom, how to thrive in both your personal and professional life while setting boundaries that work for you. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
This is BACKTalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to BACKTalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, your go-to podcast talk show for parents. Now, I need a little favor from all of you listeners out there. Go ahead, spread the word about our show. We are live, which means you can post questions under this video, and we will answer your questions live on air, but do it early. Tell your friends, shout it out to your followers, because sharing is truly caring. And don't forget to use the hashtag BACKTalk when you post. Now, let's get into today's show. On this episode of BACKTalk, we have CEO and author Lakeisha Robichaux on our show to talk about being a boss mom. Welcome to the show, Lakeisha.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the journey that you made into entrepreneurship and motherhood?
Absolutely. So, just a little bit about me. Like you said, I'm a wife, a mom, and an entrepreneur. And I started my business. We've been in business last year. It marked 10 years. We had our 10-year anniversary. And yes. So we were very, very happy about that. Very blessed to be in business for 10 years. And when I started my business at the time, my kids were young. They were 8 and 5 years old. And so I started the business during a time where I actually had to lay off half of my staff. I was working for a recovery school district. I was the executive director of that school district. I had to lay off half of my staff and just knew that I really wanted freedom and flexibility, especially with my kids. You know, a lot of times when they had different school things that they had to be at. Although I did have somewhat flexibility to go to that, I wanted the freedom as well to be able to attend that. And so I've always been an entrepreneur. It wasn't my first business. I did it before, even while I was in college. When I was in college in my dorm room, I was selling clothes, doing the wholesale thing, selling clothes and stuff like that. So I've always had the entrepreneur spirit. But long story short, I had an opportunity. We were bringing in charter schools to come in and take over some of the high performing, some of these schools that were not performing, and they wanted to work with me. And so I made them a proposition. I saw the demand and the need. I said, hey, you can work with me. Why don't you hire me as a consultant? And it was like, hey, that works for us. So that's how Cheaper Minds was birthed. But about me, I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 2 handsome boys from Louisiana. And I am all about entrepreneurship, but I'm also all about, at the top priority for me, one is God and it is family. It starts with that first, God and family first. And then, business that follows up under that. But yes, been on this journey for a while and absolutely love it. Wouldn't trade.
You know what? I see that your kids were probably your inspiration then, right?
Yes.
Right. So that happens a lot for us because here's the thing that I'm finding from different parents is that your job only gives you like 5 days of PTO, including sick time, vacation. They're not giving us back in the day, we got like 2 weeks vacation at least. And then the school schedules don't meet the parents' schedules. So you have these early dismissals and parents are supposed to take off, but they're going to run out of PTO to do that. If you don't have family support, how do you do that, right? So then I find that you're into the spiral where you your job might be in jeopardy because you're trying to balance what the schools are doing with your kids with your job. And then what do you do as a mom when you only have 5 days PTO, but the schools are letting kids out for early dismissals or days off, and God forbid a snow day and you have to go in. So being an entrepreneur definitely gives you that freedom to be able to manage those types of schedules. And so many moms want to go that route. So what my goal is today is to try to help them to do that and figure that out, because it's needed. And I noticed that you also are in this, I call it a slave like cycle with working for another person. And I hate to say it like that, but it is true, because you're a slave for the paycheck, because you got to take care of your kids, you got to pay the bills, right? And then by the time you travel to get to work, come back, travel again, you're tired. You're almost too tired to do anything extra to move yourself forward into being an entrepreneur. And and that cycle continues, especially when you have kids. So can you talk a little bit about just trying to find the time even to get started as an entrepreneur, especially as a mom, when you're just tired? You're just tired, you know?
So, and I want to go back. Let me say this, and I didn't even when I know you said introduce and tell more. So one, I do want to say, and I have been blessed. I'm not going to even lie. I have been blessed with a lot of the former supervisors, managers that I had, when I was really able to, have that time off. When I was at that school district, I was able to take time off and, attend different events. Even in my organization, I'm a CEO and founder, chief of minds. We're an organizational development firm. And I always said, I have friends, colleagues, loved ones that were not able to take off time, just like you said, only getting 5 days of PTO. I wasn't put in that predicament because I've always had great managers and supervisors and set great examples. And so when I started Chief of Minds, one of the things that I did, is I wanted to make sure that every mom that worked for me, she had an opportunity to go to the place. I'm like, no, go to that. We have unlimited PTO. And unlimited PTO, there is no, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or what have you. As long as it's not abused and it is genuinely there, every person, whether honestly they're a mom or not, they have an opportunity to go and attend their kids, whether it's during school, the field trips. I don't want them to miss out on that time, because your children are only children once, and it's important that you be able to spend that time with them. So we have unlimited PTO for those reasons, and I don't want my team feeling like they are slaves, like I have to go this and then I have to spend time with the family. So I don't want them to have to trade. Should I go? Should I not? So that's one thing I want to make sure. And working in an environment and having that culture is very important, when you're making a decision, because entrepreneurship, unfortunately, is not for everybody, but working for someone that has a good team and has that different mindset is important. Now, getting into entrepreneurship, I'm not even going to lie. It's a lot, like you said, when you get home, you have the energy. And for me, it was after hours, building up. Once I got home, cooked, spent time with my kids, did their homework. Once they went to bed, that's when, I started up and, I was working on the business. But it is a sacrifice that you have to make, in order to, because the results from that is, success. It is sacrifice, but it is more freedom and flexibility than you would have. And so for me, I didn't want to miss out on that time. So once I put them to bed, that's when I got out, paper and pen and started really crafting the business model, the strategy. How will I do this? Doing everything that I would do during the day, doing that at nighttime. So that way during the day, I'm focusing on, work, and then I can focus on building my business, in that evening / nighttime.
Okay. First of all, I want to say, if you have unlimited PTO, get ready, because you're about to get a lot of applications from moms. Okay. Because we all need that, right? Right. That's something you don't hear about in businesses. And I was always shocked when I heard 5 days. I'm like, what are you going to do with 5 days? You know what I mean? You really got to get strategic with those 5 days. But no, that's the first thing. Second of all, stealing an hour a night away, just like you sometimes you have to get up an hour early. You might have to go to bed an hour later. You might have to take some weekends and put aside when kids are napping or whatever. You have to steal the time, because if you're serious about it. And the other thing I want, like, the parents and moms to know that are listening, that what I found on my end is that it doesn't always happen overnight where you can just quit your job. That's very rare. That it usually takes any business good 3 years to get their feet on the ground and established. But like in your case, it happened faster because you had someone you actually talked to and they said yes. And sometimes it just takes the ask, right? You just got to ask, and it can launch a whole new career. So I want you to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to ask. Starting a business, your business can't be a secret. If you are going into business, you have to ask, you have to put it out there and say, hey, I'm starting this business. This is what I'm doing, because people can't do business with somebody that's a secret or that they don't know. So you definitely have to put it out there. Be very informative with what you are asking. When you're pitching your business or your services, products, whatever it is, let them know how it will bring the results that they need, that they're looking for. But most importantly is you have to put it out there. I'm not going to lie to you. In the beginning, at first, when I first started the business, I was kind of like, oh, do I want to say something about, what I'm doing? But then I'm like, hey, if I don't, who will? Nobody else is going to do it. So I have yes, I have to advocate for my business. And sometimes it like you said, it may take 3 years. And I don't advise anyone. I'll tell you this all the time. A lot of people ask me when they go into business, well, should I just quit my job and just go into business? I don't recommend that for anyone, especially if you have a family, if you have kids and everything. But it's a personal decision that you have to make. But I will always say, look at what your operational expenses will be. Try to save up maybe, 3 months, at least 3 months for that. So that way, when you are ready to take the leap, you have that cushion, you have traction, you have clientele, that the business, you have that revenue coming in. But you have to put it out there. You have to market, put it on social media, network, tell other people about it. It cannot be a secret. I see so many people that's doing it like, oh, I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't know if it's the right time. What do you mean if it's not the right time? You have to put it out there. If you want to be in business, you have to tell people. They have to know. That's the number one thing that a lot of people lack is marketing and advertising. They're not putting it out there enough. And now you have so many vehicles where you can do it free. Like you can jump on live and talk about your services and products. You don't have to buy ads. At first, you can just put it in social media. Tell people, they can share it out. But you have to communicate that. And that's something, that I did. I saw a lot of it. If you see the demand and the need, I saw the demand for it. They had it, the need. And so, yes, they did ask. I'm like, okay, well, what about this? Why don't you just hire me as a consultant? And like I said, the rest ultimately is history. They did approach, but that's just one. You still have to go out and you have to make the ask. And there is a book about it. It's called Ask. If you read the book, really, really good.
I'm gonna have to get that one. That's great. I love that. So Ask is the book. Okay. Well, for me too, I started this business. For the most part of the years that I've been in this business, I've worked full-time job, and I just really kept it alive because I knew it was a good thing. But I had to work full-time and steal time to do this, on the weekends, at night, when I first woke up, because I knew I had something, but I just couldn't afford to not pay myself and work on it. And honestly, it was a godsend that I got laid off and then I had unemployment for a year. Mm-hmm. And so during the unemployment, I was able to work on this and bring it back to life. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'm not telling you to go on unemployment or quit your job or try to get them to fire you, but unemployment can be a blessing for jumpstarting your business. You're still not getting paid. So legitimately, you still get unemployment, but you're trying to jumpstart this business at the same time. So that has helped a lot of people get started. I'm just going to put that out there, and you can take it where you want to. Okay. But let me talk about family and balancing that too, because that's part of business. I know we have to go through the admin part where you get your EIN number if you're going to be an LLC or a corporation, all that stuff, your bank account in your name. You have to register if you're going to be local. We get the business license, all that we're not really discussing today because that's all, you can find all that information online. But as a mom, I wanted to encourage moms, first of all, today to start their own business if that's for them. And like you said, I'm just going to repeat some of the things you talked about. Like you asked if you could be a consultant at school, and they say yes, right? So that was one thing. Ask. You see a need, a niche, ask. But I want to go into a little bit about, now that you are an entrepreneur, how do you balance family with your business? And I want you to express that to the audience so that they know that also can be done.
Yeah. And it can be done. I don't call it, I don't be honest with you, I don't call it balancing, because balancing something means that everything, that it is balanced equally. There are seasons where something is going to get more attention depending on what the needs are. Now, of course, when it comes to my family, like I said, and I still do this to this day. My kids are older now, but even to this day, when I do go home, I cook, I spend time with them. When everybody's asleep, then I'll pull the laptop out back off if I need to do it. But balancing, to use the word balancing, oftentimes is not there. What I do is I look at what the priorities are. What do I have going on family wise? I make sure that I plan that. I make sure that I attend that. If something is going on, with my husband or with my kids, that's on my calendar. I make sure that I attend that. I'm going to be there. Those are things that I'm not going to miss. It is there. Whether it's football games, basketball games, I am planning to be there. So my meetings and things are planned around that. Now, what that may mean is after those basketball games, football games, we go home and we eat. After that, I'm pulling the laptop off. If I need to, there's some urgent emails that I need to respond to prepare for a meeting the next day, or some proposals, that need to be reviewed or written, what have you. I'm pulling that out. And so it's not always quote unquote balance, but it's more prioritizing, what do I have? But like I said, to the moms that are entrepreneurs and you have family and things like that, moments that you don't want to miss out, you definitely need to make sure that you are attending, put it on the calendar and say, hey, and that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, is because you do have the opportunity to work around that. This is the priority. I'm going to plan my meeting for this. This is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do, because it is your business. So you do that. On the other half of that is because you can do that, within your day may fall after that, in the evening until the night, because there's been plenty of nights. A lot of times we talk about like the good, the fluff, and how it looks so great, and it is very rewarding. But there are a lot of sacrifice. There are a lot of sleepless nights, where you're not getting sleep when you're preparing for the next day, because you may attended this field trip or something like that, or maybe have been on a vacation, and when you come back you have a lot of work to get to. But that's rewarding because you have the flexibility and freedom to do that, because like Janice said, 5 days of PTO, you can't do that. You have to, if you do have the 5 or even 10 days of PTO, you have to go to the dentist. This child has a doctor's appointment. This child has a play. You need to do, this child has a field trip. You can exhaust that very fast. And so the nighttime, evening time is when you're catching up with that. But like I said, for me, I don't always use the word balance. I got away from that because I saw that really this just depends on the season. I am prioritizing what is going on, and then I'm planning accordingly from there. But I will say, what I definitely do get in is family time. So movies, travel, things like that. We definitely get it in. My kids are older now, so the things that they did when they were younger, then I'll interested in doing so much similar. But we do more of things like the travel with the football, basketball, things like that.
Okay, so basically, having your own business allows you to put family first.
Absolutely.
And that was your goal kind of in the beginning anyway for your kids, who were your motivating factors to do this. Tell us a little bit more about Chief of Mind so people can know what you did. Now, just to reiterate for anybody who's just coming on listening, she asked if someone needed help. She saw a need, asked if they need help, made herself a consultant, and now she has her own business doing that, right? So what you need to often look for is, what do people need? Keep an eye out for it, like you're scanning for it almost when you go into a business, when you go into whatever, and be like, okay, well, they need this. Or if you have a complaint about something, maybe you can do it better. Maybe that's your expertise. Maybe that's your new business. So if you can't think of what it is you want to do, scan, figure it out. So I want to talk about a little bit about what you do so they can understand how it tied in to the ask.
Absolutely. So at Chief of Minds, we're an organizational development firm. And so what we do is increase productivity, profitability, and performance for organizations through human resources consulting, training and development, leadership development, program management, staff augmentation, those type of services. And we service the government, we service corporations, we service private sector and nonprofit. So that's our customer base and the services that we provide. My background prior to starting Chief of Minds, I worked as executive director in leadership roles in human resources. And so my background was HR. When I was working for the school system, I was executive director, and I was over a district within our state, multiple cities. And so with Chief of Minds, as I said before, different schools that came and asked me either to run the schools, run the operations, human resources, and Chief of Minds was birthed from that because I saw the demand ultimately and the need for it. With my background experience, that's why the superintendent actually came and recruited me to come and work for them to actually start up the HR department grassroots. The charter school saw that as well. And so when I saw the demand, I already had the HR background, the experience, like many mothers do. You're working, you have the background, you have the experience, you see that demand and that need. And so you supply the product, you supply the services, you have the answer to it because you are in it, you are working, whether you're actually working a job on it or if it's ultimately a hobby, and you have the knowledge, the expertise behind it to really put it into place and to provide results, to provide value. That's what people are looking for, the value that you can bring. That's how Chief of Mind started. That's how we launched, from having that experience and seeing that demand and need from that, everybody coming and asking about it. And it's okay, hey, yes, we can provide this for you. So moms, I definitely encourage you as you're working and you're looking at, okay, the experience that you have, the qualifications that you have. And also, is this something that you enjoy? Because if you don't enjoy doing it, it's going to be tough because you're going to dread doing it. Yes, you're going to have the freedom, flexibility, but it definitely needs to be something that you like doing, that brings you joy, and you can see yourself doing and growing and flourishing from it.
Great. No, that's great advice. And I want to encourage you to just make baby steps. If you do one thing every day to move yourself forward, two things is even better. You can get a cheap to free website using I'm not promoting them, but Wix.com is drag and drop. There are people that will help you. You can even start with a Facebook page as you have to for your business. That has come a long way. TikTok shops have come a long way. Live and video is the best way to promote your business these days. Now, get on TikTok, talk about it, let people know what you do. Share that video on all your social media channels so that you can start to get some sort of client. Meet with people who are in the space doing what you're already doing. Talk to them, get not only for mentors, but for instance, if you're looking to get into, say, the wedding business, talk to the wedding planner. See if you can get time with them, not on the weekend when they're busy, but during the week, maybe after work. Take them for coffee or maybe anything, Starbucks or something like that, and just have a chat with them and of course pick up the bill because they're giving you their time. And those things are really inexpensive to even free to do. But Lakeisha, tell me, what has been your biggest challenge you faced so far as a mompreneur? We're going to call you a mompreneur, and how did you overcome it?
Biggest chase. I would say probably is traveling challenge, as a mompreneur, because being a mom and the type of business that we have, opportunities, business that we do, we travel, we're national, global, really. And having to really, make those decisions. Sometimes it's the last minute where my kids may have a basketball game, a football game, and they had to change the date or something like that. And so I had it on my calendar. It got moved. And when it was moved, I had to go. I was, planned to go out of town. And so think like, oh, I'm going to end up going to, miss that. But the beauty about that as being an entrepreneur is you can possibly, depend on what that meeting is, you can reschedule that meeting. And so in the beginning, the challenge was, do I miss the meeting? Do I change the meeting? But as an entrepreneur, you can, you ahead of time, you ask, look, I need to change this meeting. What is a different day that we can meet or what have you? And in that way, you can make sure that you meet all the obligations, and can be there. And then I would say the other challenge is possibly lack of sleep, because as you said, you got to get up early, you got to stay late. And so lack of sleep sometimes, but, we have to keep the self-care being a priority, but it can be challenging at times. I say no lies about that, but I would say those are the most two, with being a mompreneur, trying to prioritize that.
Right. Especially in the beginning, when you're trying to launch something from nothing, it's going to take a lot of sleepless nights, like you said, getting up early, all of that stuff, because it's going to pay off in the end. And what I told even my daughter, who's pursuing her own business, is that what I found and what I've seen looking back is that the people who gave up on their business for whatever reason, so there are times that you need to look at it seriously, but they gave up. And it seems like the people that were tenacious, no matter how hard it got or how lack of funds they had, somehow they kept it going. Those are the ones that ended up being successful that I saw, because you're going to have those times when it's just going to crash. And you're going to be like, why am I doing this? What, that it happens. But what I've seen are the people who can start saying, okay, I'm not going to just wallow in my tears. I'm going to figure this out and slowly make baby steps, to keep it going. Even if they had to take a side job while they're doing that business, because they believe in that business. And I know that's been my story. I believe in Successful Black Parenting Magazine. It's my mission. As long as I have a penny to my name, breath in my body, this business shall go on. So, I gave up once before, and I regretted it. So I brought it back, and I said, never again. So those are kind of like tenacity that you need to have to do this. Know that things might not seem like they're working out, but you just got to either pull back and make baby steps to keep moving, and always feel like you move forward.
That is so true. And I've had that. I can agree and I can relate to that. With Chief of Minds there in the early years, there were, times when I'm like, Lord, I need equipment, I need furniture and things like that. Almost to the point, and payroll, struggles with payroll, and I'm like, should I just shut it down? And a lot of times, those are tests of faith, and I had to pray hard and like, Lord, and right when you feel like you want to give up, but I never did. It just seems like the windows open, all of these opportunities come your way, and it's all coming together, and it's tests of faith, to really say, okay, hey, can you handle this? Because business is not easy. But like you said, if you don't give up, there's a blessing on the end of it. And that has been each and every time, ultimately that happens. And going back, one of the things I always say, like you said, sometimes you do have to ultimately, be realistic about it. And I always tell anybody that's starting a business, and I'll say to moms that are definitely watching, one of the things that you also want to do when you're starting your business is test it. Test the idea that you have, test the service, test the product that you have, to see what the audience is. Because oftentimes we have something that we think, oh, it's fantastic, it's great, and we really want to do it. But is it great? Is there a market for it? We got to make sure that there's a market for it. And it doesn't mean like in the first shot that you give and, people shut it down like, okay, well, this is not good. That just may not be your audience. So you have to really identify who your audience is and make sure that you are marketing to the right person as well. So make sure that you test, you put it out there. Even schools can be your client depending on what your product and services is. But everybody, when you talk to pitch it to them, kind of see what their thoughts are, give it feedback. Just know that everybody's not going to agree with it. That they're not going to be a fan of it. And that's okay, because it may not be the product or service for them. But if you know that this is something that you truly want to do, it's proven, it brings value, have the results on it, don't give up. You have to keep going. And like you said, you have to be tenacious. You have to be resilient behind it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about mom guilt, because it seems like mom guilt is always there and it's so real. Like, how do you navigate feelings of guilt or self-doubt when we're pursuing your professional goals of being an entrepreneur, but then you still have the mom guilt when at the job anyway? It seems like it never goes away. So if you're at a working job where you don't have your own business, you want to be at the plays that you talked about. You want to go to these things. So mom guilt's there. And then still it's on the entrepreneur level too. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it exists. It's real. Overcoming it. Oftentimes for me, I talk to my boys about it. When I feel like if there was something, that I did miss, or if I'm working late in the office, whatever, I'm calling them and I'm saying like, hey, what's going on? I express my emotions to my kids. And I remember not too long ago, I told my son, I was like, I'm trying to think what the situation was. And he had something going on. I was like, and I'm going to be late for it. And he was like, oh, Mom, it's fine. I say, well, I still want to, let you know, that, I feel I don't want you to be upset that I can't attend, that I'm going to be late for it. And he said, oh, Mama, he was like, it's fine. He was like, but I like how you always tell us, your emotions and how you feel and stuff like that. That makes them feel good to be open, honest. Like I have to get it, that mom guilt, I have to get it off of my chest. I have to say it. And when I release it and talk through it with them and tell them about it, it makes me feel better. It opens up the conversation, for them. And they feel okay with it. No, ultimately, I understand if you're going to be late, or ultimately if you can't make it. But it is definitely something that's real. And we have to give ourselves grace because as moms, we do a lot. And, we try to be superwoman. And, we can't always be superwoman. We have to take care of us first, because if we can't take care of us, we can't take care of everybody else. The body will start giving you, my mom tells me this all the time. She's like, your body will show you signs, when you're tired, you feel like you can't go on and things like that. It's your body saying, okay, you need to slow down. And so we have to also start prioritizing. And I'm guilty of this. I'm preaching to choir at this point right now. I'm preaching to myself, because I know that I don't always slow down, but I know it's something that I need to do and I have to do, because mom guilt builds up, and like, okay, if we don't have home cooked meals all the time, if we're not here on time every time, then we really start feeling bad. And like you said, in the business, we don't want the business to suffer, as well. But we just have to recognize that we can't do it all. At the end of the day, we can't do it all. I have conversations with my husband. I'm like, hey, look, this is what's going on. Need you to pitch in or whatever. He's like, okay, hey, let me know what I got to do or whatever, and start, moving some of that stuff away and not feeling like we have to do it all each and every time. We have to get out of that.
That part, yeah, it's great when you have a support system. It's very difficult, not impossible, but it's very difficult even when a single mom wants to start a business, because you start feeling guilty that you can't do these home cooked meals. It's hard to do food prep, and you barely making it to get their lunches together. So that mom guilt will be there, but it's okay. It's okay. You're not doing anything wrong, and you have to give yourself grace, like you said, because you can't do everything. Something always is sacrificed somewhere, somewhat, but it's only temporary. You have to look at it as a temporary thing, because once you get your business up, you can hire somebody to come in and do some of these things for you, like clean once a week, or help you with food prep or whatever it is. But you got to be tenacious. I keep saying tenacious, and you have to be like resilient and keep going, like you said. Yeah, absolutely.
And you need to. And one of the things that I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want to hire. I'm so glad you said that. You talked about somebody to come in and clean. I hear people like, well, I don't want anybody to do that. I feel like I need to do it. But why? Why do you feel like you need to do it? If you can have somebody come in and clean for you, then you should. And I definitely highly recommend it. If you have someone to come in and cook for you, ultimately, then you should. I totally agree with it. And one of the things, even like you said, if you have a support system, my husband next to me, he's like, why do you feel like you got to do everything all the time? And this goes back to it's communication, you're right. So we have to communicate. We have to be open to these things, that can help us with the different, with our support systems, so we got to we have to get out of our own way, period.
Absolutely. And a good boss knows how to delegate tasks. So you might as well start at home. Everything starts at home, right? So you have to learn how to delegate to run your business even smoothly. So that's part of it. Now, a little birdie told me something about BizChiefs that I saw. So tell me about that, because that seems to tie right into this. It helps aspiring business owners, right? So let's talk about that part.
Yeah, so BizChiefs. So BizChiefs is a business consulting organization that I have, and it's really to help entrepreneurs grow and scale their business. We've had our last conference was in 2022 was our last conference that we had. And it is for individuals who are looking to grow and scale in their business. And whether, depending on the level where you're just starting out, or if you are in, 3 to 5 years of your business, what do you need to do? So it's the foundations of it is marketing, human resources, operations, and sales. Getting that framework, the foundations of really being ready to grow and scale your business. And so I started BizChiefs back in 2020, during COVID. I had a lot of people contacting me, reaching out, asking, okay, hey, right now I'm in the midst of COVID. I really need to grow and scale my business. What do I need to do? And so from there, BizChiefs was born, flourished and grew to a community where individuals can grow and scale their business.
Oh, that's fantastic. So how do people find out more about that?
So we had, we in 2023, we didn't permanently close the doors, but we didn't open it back up in 2023, and we're gradually opening it for this year, but we haven't officially opened it up just yet. So more to come. If they go to bizchiefs.com, when we do officially open the doors again, they can get more information about it at bizchiefs.com.
Okay. I just want to address legacy building, because I hope my magazine becomes a legacy, but that's not the reason I do it. I saw a post from a famous actress. You all know her. I'm not going to say her name, but she had a video up there of a guy explaining that why he worked so hard was to build his legacy, and he missed all this time with his kids. That's why this balance is so important, right? He missed all this time again. He had to do it over again. He would make the kids a priority and not his legacy. And I wrote under there, and you can probably see it today if you know who I'm talking about. I wrote in there, but I'm not working so hard for my legacy. I'm working hard so I'm not homeless, because I have a different perspective on things. I'm like, I want to make sure that I have money, but this is my mission. I also want to help people. But that's not my, if it becomes a legacy, so be it. But, let's talk a little bit about legacy. So it's not always about legacy, but let's talk about it because, what legacy do you hope to leave behind for your children and the entrepreneurs that you mentor?
Yeah, so the legacy that I hope I do want, I want my kids, my legacy really for my kids to, if they want it, let me say this, if they want chief of minds, I want it set up where this can be for my grandkids, my great grandkids, an opportunity for them to continue to grow and thrive off of this business. Not that they have to be in the midst of working out. If they want to sell it, they can sell it. They can do what they like, what they would want to do for it. But I want it to be an avenue, a vehicle for them to be able to continue and establish, their life with their family and my great grandkids. Now, what does that mean? Am I sacrificing, not spending time with them? No, absolutely not. I'm not creating a legacy where it strips me of everything that I am working hard for, which is ultimately to be with them, to spend time with them, to be able to live, to be able to thrive, to be able to do the things that I enjoy doing, things that they enjoy doing. But it also, part of my legacy is for them to know that at the end of the day, I want them to know that what they strive for to do is possible. And I'm building that through the 3 different businesses that I have, that they see that they touch it. And like I said, that they can continue to grow it. But I absolutely agree when you say, it is so that you're not homeless. No, it is definitely not that. It is to create opportunity to build wealth, health, and happiness at the end of the day for me and my family.
Right. Absolutely. I got that. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience, especially the moms that are aspiring to step up into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it is definitely doable. If you put your mind to it, if you're, willing to work smart, and I'm smart, and I'm just going to put it out there because a lot of people like, I'm not trying to work hard. I'm trying to work smart. Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, it takes hard work,
Right.
And when I say hard work, there's going to be sleepless nights, depending on how fast you want to do it. If not, it just may take some more time to do that, but you're going to have to put in some sweat equity into this, to get it going. But whatever you do, I say priority for moms, prioritize, your family, because you only get, your kids are only kids once, and growing with them, you want to have that opportunity, but you want to create that foundation so that way, like Janet said, you're not homeless as well. Don't go out and do something and just quit and just say, hey, this is what I'm going to focus on. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen to multiple times with people, and it doesn't end well. So just make sure that the foundation, make sure that you get the support, market, advertise your business, go live. That's one of the best ways that you can do it free without having to invest. Talk to people, get the mentors that you need, get the support that you need, and drive it till you get the results, drive it till it's successful. And at that point, once it's successful, yes, you delegate, you build a team around you. I have a fantastic team, for my business support system. And I'm able to delegate. You will get to that point where you can delegate these things so that way you're not working in the business, you're working on the business. And that's your goal. You don't want to be knee deep in, doing everything. You want to be working on the business.
Right. And that working smart thing. I always say, yeah, I want to make money while I'm sleeping. And ultimately, I would love to be just able to sit on the beach and laugh at memes all day, because that's my goal. Right. But to get to that point, you have to work hard. So
Yeah.
that's what equity is real. You have to really work hard and work, a lot, probably, I would say, and you probably agree with me on this, harder than you work at your job, because you're
Yes.
working for somebody else with your job. But when you're working for you, it's a whole different mindset. You will work almost 24 hours a day if you had to make it work, because it's yours. And everything depends on you to make sure that money comes in, to pay those bills, to take care of your kids, to take care of salaries. All depends on you. And it
That's
is
right.
heavy. It is heavy.
That's right.
So
It's another child. You can think about it. If you start a business, you might as well think of it as another child. This is another family member. You are birthing a child. You will see it grow from the baby stages to, the teenage stages, to every step of the way. It is a child that you are birthing. And so you keep it near and dear. You're thinking about it just like you think about your own children. You're thinking about it. I mean, it takes persistence, and it takes that sweat equity to see it. But the result, once you have it there, it is worth it. It is worth it at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I encourage you both to find us online and on our social media and everywhere, and comment, engage. Engage is so important to keep small business going, because especially for our business, because advertisers look at our engagement to help fund us. So we can't keep going without you if you don't participate, follow, engage. So click on everything. Even if you don't buy an ad, just click, 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 click. All that stuff helps us to thrive. When we're helping you to thrive by giving you the best practices of parenting, we never tell you what to do. We give you the what's out there, and you get to do the way you want, because that's your kid. We want you to make sure you parent the way you want. But even as far as Chief of Minds, follow her. So tell our listeners where they can go to learn more about you, your work, and Chief of Minds.
Yes, so you can find us. You can find Chief of Minds at www.chiefofminds.com. That's our website. You can follow us on social media, find us on social media, all of your major platforms, from LinkedIn to Instagram to Facebook and X. Our handle is Chief of Minds. You can email us if you choose at service@chiefofminds.com. And, we can be there to answer any of your questions. Like I said, I have a phenomenal team, and anyone at the office or whatever would definitely be happy to assist you if you have questions about this or anything else. We'd be happy to assist you.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you, Lakeisha, for joining us today. I really appreciate having you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been great.
And I want to say a big shout out to all of you guys tuning in and engaging with us. We're just talking about engaging, so thank you so much. Here at BACKTalk by Successful Black Parenting, we're all about you. We want you to continue to support us. We are the syndicated podcast for Black parents everywhere. And be sure to follow us again on social media. Find us. We're almost everywhere except on X. Okay, we're not on X. Okay, click everything, follow, likes, ads. But most importantly, I want to remind you to go to our website and register right now for our National Black Parenting Conference online. It's February 7th and 8th. It's $15. And the more you engage with that, again, more we can all thrive. Until next time, I wish you all the best and much success. Take care. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to BACKTalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.